Now, let's get into these mistakes. Don't nobody like to talk about the mistakes that they've made and their part in getting into situations. But we made some mistakes, and obviously one of the biggest one was getting into all this debt and not really counting up the cost of how we're gonna get out of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no one likes to talk about your mistakes, but if you manage your mistakes, it can make you millions if you do it well. So yeah, one of the biggest things I would say that was one of the biggest mistakes is our debt. Our debt was out of control, and I think fundamentally we didn't quite understand that by being in debt, we were paying for our past and robbing our future. And so when you look at the cost of that, it doesn't feel bad until you look at the numbers, and then it makes you sick, right? It makes you sick to your stomach. So yeah, I would say that. So yeah, definitely debt.
That was the mistake.
The first one, yeah, the
One
biggest
of
one.
the biggest mistake, not counting up the cost or letting someone else count it up for us and giving us all this leverage that we didn't need, didn't know how to handle. And then, we had a vision. You had a vision. You had a great vision. You still have great vision.
I still have some vision.
But sometimes, you can have a great vision and you run with it when you're not ready.
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't always know that you're not ready until you get too deep into it. That might tell you that you've started a little fast. Vision, you definitely have to start with vision. You definitely have to have a place to go. But to get there, you need skill. And
We didn't have that in the area.
we didn't really have it. Interestingly enough, I was listening to Myron Golden, and he was talking about wisdom and how the Bible talks about the value of pursuing wisdom, and how above everything, get wisdom, and how Solomon was the wisest person in the world. And he said if you take that word wisdom and look at it translated, it could be translated as skill. So we did not have the skill / wisdom to reach our vision. We just didn't have it at that point in time. And you never get there. I think you never get there, but you are constantly. That's why it's so important to constantly be growing.
And what I learned in having all of that, and now not having all of that debt, is that how much more clearly you are able to see.
Yeah.
Like see what's possible. Because when you have a lot of debt and you're concerned about, your credit score and all the other things that don't add years to your life or that doesn't do anything for your legacy, where it's like, now that we didn't have that, we were able to actually see the possibilities instead of just trying to see when we was going to make the next payment and keep our credit intact, when that really wasn't doing anything for us at all.
Mm-mm.
But, everybody wants the 800. Everybody wants the 7, what is it, go up to 800? I don't know. I don't know anymore. I used to know. I used to care.
Yeah.
But, yeah, when you, I think that's when you can say you've really learned from your mistake, is when you set out to, we didn't change our vision. We didn't change what we said we wanted to do to invest in real estate. We just learned from the horrible decisions that we made and set out to not do them anymore and do it
a different way.
And you talked about this, about finding people to help us develop that skill. But every time just because we found someone who's doing something and is successful in what we wanted to do, doesn't mean that was the way we should be doing it.
Yeah. You definitely have to have mentors, but you have to have the right mentor. Every mentor is not meant for you. Just because and it doesn't matter whether they're godly or not. That doesn't mean that they are the right mentor for you. You are you're unique. Your giftings are unique. Your passions are unique, and what you're willing to do is unique. And so it's tough sometimes to balance what you're willing to do and what you should do. In the midst of all that, find someone who can help guide you through that. Because you can have a mentor who has reached the same goal as you or that you have, but yet their methods may not fit you, whether it be personality, whether it be outlook, whether it be lifestyle. In the end,
And what makes that a mistake if you don't find that right person?
because what you end up trying to do is you end up trying to be somebody that you're not to fulfill where you believe God has told you to go. And
In a way, in a using a method that he hasn't designed for you to go.
exactly.
That could be a mistake.
Oh, absolutely. Because that person, your mentor, might not necessarily, the mentor that you choose might not necessarily know what God has told you and where he's trying to lead you. He knows what he can do and what he has done, or she, but that doesn't mean that way is definitely for you. At some point in time, someone had to blaze the trail, right? So there had to be a first. So there was no one to tell that trailblazer, maybe God wants to make you a trailblazer. And, a trailblazer following somebody else's path is not a trailblazer. You're living under your purpose. And so, it's tough trying to balance that out, but it's an ongoing process.
It is.
It's an ongoing process of self-evaluation and knowing knowing yourself.
And mistakes happen.
Oh, absolutely.
The question is, what did we learn from it? And what we are doing here is sharing with you all what some of the things that we've learned and going through this process. And I can say it wasn't fun.
But it was been fruitful.
It has been fruitful. Look at here. You better come with them words. It has been fruitful. And what are we doing? We're taking that fruit, we're enjoying that fruit, and we're sowing seeds. We're sowing seeds so that we can help other people produce fruit in their lives. It's not always, what we're talking about is our financial journey. It's not always about money. But hey, that's what we're talking about. Because we know that is a necessity of life, and that we don't, we were not, let's speak for us, we were not meant to be in bondage. We were not.
Absolutely not.
And we free now, and we want to help others get free.
Well said.
So the last thing I want to ask you is to share how your view of how all of this worked together for our good.
And this would be
How the debt, the process, not the debt itself, but the process of getting out of the debt, the process of going through the foreclosures, the embarrassment. We didn't really talk about that, but maybe if you want to, you can touch on that. The embarrassment, that came along with, people knowing that we own properties and all of a sudden we don't. But just how all of that, how would you express the way that all worked together?
I would say it worked together just as you read in the Bible. When you sometimes in church, when you hear a sermon, we always hear the high points. But when you read it, take time to study it, you see the low points in people's lives. But you'll also, one common thing, not only will you see the low points in their lives, but you will see that God's grace and mercy is bigger than people's mistakes. We got a chance to feel that out and see that. You see that nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Regardless of the position they're called to or the glory that God bestowed on them in the end. And you see that they didn't give up. I remember going through this financial journey and watching video of people back in the 1930s during the stock market crash jump to their death because they were so engrossed with the despair of failure, how people would end their lives. And, you know, when you're looking at hundreds of thousands, even, or over $1 million of debt, that's what we had. Not that I ever had, you know, suicidal thoughts, but I could understand how someone could want to take their life from that and just get away from it, just end it all. But God, you know, he's, like I said, his grace and mercy is bigger than our mistakes. And he's long suffering, and we didn't quit. And and it allowed him to work the way he wanted to work, to get financially free. And, you know, when you get financially free, you know, Dave Ramsey says the grass in your backyard feels different in your toes. You know, the air feels.
No grass.
Yeah, not in Vegas. I guess you're right.
Yeah, weeds back there you need to pull.
Thank you. But, you know, things are different. Your vision is different. That's one thing debt does, which, you know, we didn't talk about how it robs you of your vision, because you can't see tomorrow past the fog of today. You can't. Because
you're looking at yesterday, because you're still paying for it.
You're still paying for yesterday. You can't see tomorrow, and so you can't imagine. You can't even dream, and we know that God works a lot of times through dreamers. And
or you stop dreaming. You know, people dream. When you think about dreaming, people are asleep. You stop dreaming when you wake up.
Yes.
But when you don't have that vision blocker, as I call it, that debt, then you can dream when you're awake.
Oh, absolutely.
You can see, you can see further. You just can, and it's hard to explain. I remember trying to explain to someone the day that we paid off our last debt payment, and how it felt. It felt like a physical weight was lifted. Like it literally felt like something was just physically lifted off of our shoulders, because
you feel like physical release, and there's got to be something scientific about it, right? I mean, just the relief of the stress, knowing that you don't have that anymore, right? So that's got to be a benefit, absolutely. And as far as your vision, it moves your impossible. Because what wasn't possible if you would have asked me when we started this debt journey, I never would have thought we'd be debt free in 4 years or whatever it took us. I never would have thought that was possible. I would have thought that was impossible. The mortgage
said 40 years.
Yeah, the mortgage says 40. My prayer was for 40, and, you know, God can do it. God can sustain me for 40 years, but when he does it in 4, I would have said that was impossible. And now, when you stand on that mountain of impossible, you can see other mountains and that causes you to dream bigger. And so now when you start speaking, people look at you like, that's not possible for you. Well, they're not where you are, because your impossible has moved. So.
Wow. That was good. That was good. I want to share something right here. It's kind of off topic, or maybe not off topic, but it's something that I want to share for a couple of reasons. First reason is today is February 24th, and tomorrow is my mama's birthday, who is no longer with us. And so probably dedicating this to her. But one thing, you know, I remember when she wasn't well, and how one morning when I woke up and I said, I want to go see my mama, not knowing that it was going to be the last time that I saw her. And what was so amazing, and I remember thanking God for this, is that, one, you said go. That was number one. And two, it wasn't how much it's going to cost. It wasn't how long am I going to be gone. I didn't have any of those thoughts, because I knew that it was because we were in a position where we could make those kinds of decisions. If we needed to get up and go and check on family or do whatever it is we wanted to do, we have the freedom to do that. Yes, we have jobs, and, you know, we have some accountability there, but I think the main decision maker was, could I afford it?
Yeah, it wasn't a prohibiting.
it was not even a thought in my mind. It was like, what was the next thing smoking that I could get out to go see my mom? And I'm so grateful for that, for being in the position, for God putting us in the position to be able to do that. And you know what? I was there the day before like that trip was my last trip seeing her alive. And I don't want to think about how I would have felt if I had the desire to do that but couldn't do it because of money, because of debt, because of bills that I needed to pay, and that hindered me from being able to go and just put my eyes on her one last time. And I am so grateful for that. I gotta stop talking about that now. But yeah, that was a moment where I realized, like, thank you, God, for helping us get to where we are now, so that we can get to those that we love when we want to, when we need to. So,
if I were to ask you, I know we're running long, but if I were to ask you, what is that worth? How much is that ability, or how much was that ability worth to you to go see your mom when you wanted to? What is monetarily wise?
I can't put a price on that. I can't put a price on that. I can't. And while we're here, for those of you who don't know us, about a year after my mother's passing, my mother-in-law passed away. And that was another moment in our lives where, again, we didn't think about it. The next day, we were on a plane to go and see about Dad, Alfred King Jr. And, we were gone for 3 weeks. We didn't think about nothing but being there to handle the business we needed to handle, to, make sure Dad had everything that, we had to deliver that news, right? And so we never, when we left here, we had a one-way ticket, and we were gone for 3 full weeks. From work, it's like every week we called them and said, hey, we need more time. And to be honest with you, our jobs didn't have to be there when we got back. Thank God they were, but they didn't have to be. And again, thank God it didn't happen if we would have come home and, and needed to find new jobs. Honestly, because we didn't know. We left one way. We were gone for 3 full weeks. Didn't think about nothing but being there for our family during that time. And
you can't put a price on that.
Can't put a price on that. The freedom to be able to do that is invaluable.
Absolutely.
But those are the kinds of things that you set yourself up to do. We didn't know. I mean, it's sad, right, for the 2 examples that I'm giving, but it's a blessing because we were able to do it. And we didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
We didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And we were able to be there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things which one of the freedoms that comes with the lifting of debt is the ability for you to handle more responsibility. And that was a responsibility that we were able to get to, the honoring of our parents in their passing and before they passed, that we don't have any regrets. There is no woulda, shoulda, coulda, because we did. And it's just a testament to the grace of God and how there are always these unseen blessings that pop up that that you can't put a dollar figure on. You can't put a dollar figure on that. So you can't put a dollar figure on it, but you also can't deny that it's God's grace.
That's right. So that was a long segment, but
Yeah, that's too long. You gotta cut that one down.
I'm not gonna do it. Is there anything else that you would like to share about your perspective of this debt drama that we went through?
To summarize, I would say a couple things. One, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. God is bigger than you are. But he works in the midst of your work. You always see that in the Bible. People don't just lay down and quit, but they continue to work, and then God works through them. And that's how he works miracles. I've heard it said that without God, man cannot, but without man, God will not. And so a lot of times you're that man that he wants you to work through. So don't ever give up. And the second thing is the invest in yourself. Sow into your field. Another biblical reference, you read that Isaac sowed into his field and he reaped 100-fold. Well, that field is his field of influence where God put him. That's what he sowed into, and then God bless that. So don't ever give up, and just keep pushing, and just believe.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I have enjoyed this. I have been blessed.
Me
I
too.
have been trying to get, not that he didn't want to do it, but just trying to find a time to sit down and do this together. Thank you.
You're welcome, but I didn't do this for free. I want my check. I don't work for free. I'm debt free now, but that don't mean I work for free.
All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to the finale of this debt-free drama. This has been my favorite part. It's always good to, have a conversation. We just sat here and just had a conversation. And we hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that it encouraged you, blessed you, has given you hope to be debt free, or to do better, to be better stewards over what you have been given the ability to make, to earn, to grow. And see you in the next video. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.